So, there's this idea of breaking through, moving, transcending, ascending to a higher state of consciousness. My grandmother was the mother of 9 children. So she birthed 9 children in 11 years. Woof, that's right. Yeah. So she had 9 kids in 11 years. And, I think she got married when she was like 19, something like that. And she went to college later in life. She was sort of busy. And I grew up, did you ever have like a spot in your house growing up that like was not really encouraged to spend as much time in? Like maybe you had some plastic on some furniture or something like that. Mine wasn't quite like that, but it was sort of like that, And in that room, there was a bronze cast naked sculpture of my grandmother. Like some of you might have been raised in a spot where like you had to wear skirts and like everything had to be covered up. Nope, my grandmother was just naked. Just naked in the living room. Bronze cast. She was a sculptor. She became a sculptor later in life. And so it was a self-creation. It was a self-portrait. And this morning I was sitting in my meditation and, this guy Ernest Holmes says, enter the silence. And what I have found is that my life has become very noisy. The world has become very noisy. And I become very aware of how I begin to operate from the outside in when life becomes noisy. I start to become like a pinball that is getting pushed around based on circumstance and condition. And when I allow myself to get to that place, when I start to pay closer attention to the opinions of the world rather than the truth of my being, it's not friendly. And so as I sat in my meditation this morning and read what I typically read, I came across this: the Spirit is the only cause, medium, and effect in my life. The Spirit is the only cause, medium, and effect in my life. Now you might say, well, what is the Spirit? What do you mean when you say that? When I say the word Spirit, what I mean is the principle of unity. The principle of unity that is operating in, through, and as all things, and is only available to you to the extent that you are aware of its presence. So when I sit with this idea that the Spirit is the only cause, medium, and effect in my life, I have to ask myself, how aware am I of that? Because it's true, but am I aware of it? So here's the thing. We talk a lot about the creative process. And my grandmother, as a sculptor, she has this wave of inspiration. There's an intelligence that stirs in her. That's the Spirit. It is everywhere present all the time, nearer than your breath. The medium is the clay. See, the clay is not yet the art, but the clay has the potentiality of the art in it. The clay is the medium. So the Spirit, the infinite intelligence of all things, the cosmic presence in back of all life, the principle of unity, comes through Terry Rossiter, not separate and apart from her. She uses the medium of clay and outpresses a self-portrait. That's how life is always working. Are you available to the intelligence of the Spirit? Are you available to the high idea of self? Do you allow yourself to see the infinite capacity in the medium that you're working with, and then allow yourself to out-picture that which is beautiful? Or are you working with some messed up mediums? Are you working with some, have you ever worked with clay that's dry? It's hard to press through it. Have you ever worked with clay that is brittle? It's difficult to form. The environment you want to have be available for that which you're wanting to create. So this idea of reciprocity rests on this. The whole universe is concentrated at the point where you are. You are the universe expressing as you. You are its living enterprise. Enterprise means program. You are the living program of the universe. You are it. The universe, God, spirit, life, only can know of itself but through you. And only can know of itself through you to the capacity in which you're willing to allow it. Now, I find for me, when I start to get too caught up in the world of form, in external circumstances and conditions, I am being run by the outside. When I take time to enter the stillness, where the infinite capacity of all life exists, I am a much greater channel from which to outflow. So my invitation for us this month is to pause, to get still, and to allow yourself to listen to what is going on where you are. You are the living program of the universe. When you just take a deep breath and you walk on the planet, can you tune in and see, am I walking inside of this high idea, or am I a ping pong ball or a pinball just being bumped around from thing to thing to thing to thing? What that looked like for me this week was unfollowing a whole lot of folks on Instagram. Because I became aware of the fact that I was being moved by what they were saying. And I couldn't hear what was true for me anymore. And I was witnessing a bunch of drama. And y'all know I get enough drama in my inbox. I don't need it on Instagram also, right? So are we taking care of ourselves and being mindful of what we're ingesting? Are we being mindful? See, because I'm committed to being on the planet as a reciprocal universe. So if I want to put out a particular vibration, I want to be very mindful of what's stirring in here. So let's talk about that. What do I mean when I say the reciprocal universe? For every visible form, there is an invisible counterpart. This means that what we receive corresponds to what we imagine and believe we can receive, the law of mental equivalence. This also is the golden rule, that what we do to others will be done also to us, the law of cause and effect. We are living in a reciprocal universe. That which you are experiencing in your world is a projection of your mental equivalent. So if you are holding in your mind's eye a particular way that you experience life, and so it is. There was someone who said something really brilliant. It was something like, it is done unto you as you believe. Right? I don't know who that was, but a lot of props to that one. So if it is done unto you as you believe, are you aware of what you believe? See, on Friday, I found myself in a real wobbly spot. It was like, I was just wobbling. The noise was too loud. The noise was too loud in the world for me. And all I knew in that moment was really to fall to my knees and to surrender. And fortunately, I've surrounded myself by really incredible people that can remember what's true when I have forgotten. And so I called 2 community members here, and I said, I need you to know for me what I cannot know for myself right now. And it was one of those power moments of complete and total surrender. It's not the traditional power that we're familiar with, right? That's an assertive energy. But sometimes you just have to lay it down and go, something else, please. And these 2 powerful human beings said, Lola, you know. And I said, I don't think I do. And I said, I don't even know that I believe any of this stuff anymore. And they didn't force me to believe anything. They said, what has occurred in your life? Start to look at what has occurred in your life. And that was all I could get to. All I could get to is I know that there's something happening here. I know that there's something greater than this minutia before me. You know, there might be something that you're dealing with in your life that's like a struggle, and it's like a recurring struggle. And it's like, why are we on this hamster wheel over and over and over again? Now, if you're sitting there going, I have no idea what she's talking about, maybe ask your neighbor. They might know. I don't know. But there's something that likely you don't know, the fullness, the allness, the highest vibration of who you are. See, you and I are not these meat suits. We have a body, we aren't our body. We are the aliveness of the universe that has pressed into form. The cause that pressed through a medium and into an effect. But if you don't realize the power and presence that is individualized as you, then anyone can do anything to you and take you off your square. So for me, it's just, I gotta breathe, and I have to remember what is true and is real. I am the individualized manifestation of all that is. You might say that out loud if you'd be willing. I am the individualized manifestation of all that is. And for me, when I'm in those moments of real, confusion, it's actually a breakthrough. It's actually a breakthrough into a higher realm of possibility, because I've done what I can do through my efforting up to this point. Perhaps you're aware of your tendency to effort. You know, the thing about the practice of manifesting and attracting is when you're not mindful, you can start to think that you're the one doing it. And if you're the one doing it, you'll get to the point in which it feels very exhausting. And if you resist that, it'll get real painful. But if you surrender to that, you can bust through into something new. So there's this really great book called In the Flow of Life by Eric Butterworth. And he says, life asks of you only that you flow with it, that you do not resist its inexorable bubbling forth, and that you do not crawl into dark corners of insufficiency and erect barriers. You know, there is a flow to life that can move through you to the extent that you're available for it. On Monday morning, I was driving from my home in Oak Park to Bodhi, and oftentimes I'll get taken down Jackson and through the Columbus Park refectory. And it was odd. It was like 7:30 in the morning. It was like the height of rush hour traffic, and it was still right there. And all of a sudden, like 30 or 40 geese in a perfect line start to slowly but intentionally make their way across Jackson. And they're like, they're so, and I was just like, these beings are amazing. Like the order. I was just like, it almost brought me to tears. Just like here we are in this cacophonous city, and 40 extraordinary beings in perfect harmony and perfect order moving in the flow of life. And I was like, I got to put this on Insta Story. This is an amazing moment. And it was. It didn't take me out of it. I just loved it. And then sure enough, cars started pulling up. And I had the thought, I wonder how long human beings can sit with this glorious flow of life before them. Not very long, it turns out. Honk, honk, honk. And it was really wild to watch. Like, here these beautiful creatures are moving magically on the planet. And these human beings are so incensed and inconvenienced by the glorious demonstration before them. Honk, honk, honk. And you could see these little creatures, they were getting scared. It's like disrupting. It's like all of a sudden there's like noise everywhere, there's chaos, and the bus is trying to get around these damn things. And I just thought that is an important noticing. How available are you and I to living in the flow of life? Or where do we feel compelled to interrupt with our own agenda? Like, what has happened that our lives have become so hurried that we can't even witness the extraordinary creation of the universe that is right before us? He says, life asks of you only that you flow with it, that you do not resist its inexorable bubbling forth. Life is wanting to bubble forth within and through and as each of us. And then we honk, not my way. Wow, it's just an exhausting way to do life. A lot of screaming on the planet right now. A lot of being right. A lot of digging our heels in and honking the fucking horn. It's terrible. That just came through. I didn't mean that. Cherie, I hope your husband will come again. Happy birthday. All right. So, do you understand what I'm saying? It's like we get so caught up in our ego construct, in our righteousness. We are so deeply entrenched in what we call the drama triangle, victim, villain, hero, and we will argue for our limitations. That's what I had to unplug from this week. The commitment to argue for one's limitations. And then be right about it. See, we talked a few months ago about midwifing change. And that we're living in a time where if we actually want to break through into a new realm of possibility, a new state of consciousness, you cannot use the old tools. The old tools will keep us trapped in the same game. The tools that we've been invoking here that actually do provoke a new idea, a new thought, a new possibility involves openness and curiosity. And a lot of times when we are so certain about our perspective, the thought of openness and curiosity is like death. You know, when you're sitting in your car and the geese are walking before you, and you're not in an awake state, it really will occur like there's not enough time and these guys are in my way. But the whole premise of this community is that you are more than this. You are one with all that is. And as you become a master practitioner, you can begin to bend time and space. So if you actually know yourself as one with the infinite capacity of the universe, and that spirit is all things through me, cause, medium, and effect, then you can sit with whatever obstacle appears to be before you and experience at 1 mint. I am that. That is me. I am that. That is me. If the geese provoke us so, then it is of no surprise that anything that's occurring on the planet is going to be any easier. So one of the great practices that I love to invoke is, whoever I have deemed the evil one out there, I will sit with them, as you've often heard me say, and stare at them and say, I am you, you are me, you are me, I am you. If you can't do it with the TV on, turn the TV off, just the volume, and stare at the one on the screen that you have deemed so evil and so wrong, and see how willing you are to practice. I am that. I am. I am that. I am. I am that. I am. This world has enough people screaming. And that doesn't, see, the game operation has been up for me for about a year. I think we might need to pull that out for Thanksgiving or something like that. Because remember, there's those little teeny tweezers, and you gotta go in real carefully before you get zapped. But that's what this time and space is calling for. This time and space is not for the undisciplined. This time and space is for those of us that are willing to be like laser focused. Nathan and I got into sort of a this past weekend, which always makes Sunday a little rough, I gotta be honest. It's like, okay, now what do I say without pulling all my business out there, but I gotta be honest, right? And we were lying in bed this morning, and I said to him, I think we gotta dig in on our practice. And he's like, honey, we're great. And I'm like, I know we're great, but we gotta dig in. Well, no, I think we are. This is what we argue over. How strong is our spiritual practice? And I'm like, no. He's like, we're doing better than 80% of human beings. I'm like, that is a measure of nothing. Do not compare me to 80% of human beings. That's not what I'm trying to be. Is that what you're trying to be? Like 80% of human beings? That is not good enough. Look, you are enough. That's true in principle. But if you don't realize it, it's just a concept. So I said to him, you and I have these obstacles that we're dealing with. You know, it's like life obstacles. It's like, and it's so funny. He's like, well, I was talking to my colleague, and they said that this is the stage of life we're in, and she's 60. And I'm like, no, I am not surrendering to the stage of life we're in. And that feels really important to me because there's something called race consciousness. Race consciousness is about the human race and its susceptibility to limitation. And we start to get into collective agreement. So you get a diagnosis, and there's a race consciousness belief about a probable, predictable outcome based on that diagnosis. And then you act that out because you're like a trained hamster. Does that make sense? So you hear, oh, I turned 40. All of a sudden, my back is hurting a little bit. Never mind, girl, you put 15 pounds on since your 40th birthday. Oh, no, it's 40. No. It has nothing to do with 40. It has to do with you and the choices that you made. It's called mathematics. So there's this song called Slow Down by Brand Nubian. And you've heard me talk about it before. They sample Edie Brickell, who, by the way, Rich, were you just playing with them this weekend? Man, Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians, come on. I saw that this morning. I was like, man, don't you remember who I am? Give us sister a call, Rich. All right, anyway. So there's this tune that brand new being sampled, a number of people, but the primary one that you hear is What I Am from Edie Brickell. And there are 3 verses really in this tune. And each of the lyricists speaks to a different archetype of a woman who is, one is experiencing addiction. And, it's like, I knew her when. What happened? What happened? And then the next one talks about the woman who's paper chasing. Like, I knew you when. What happened? Now, don't talk to me about the misogyny of hip-hop. We're not here to talk about that. We're just exploring the wisdom of the piece, okay? What's brilliant about this piece and what it brought up to me in my meditation on Friday is, where are you trying to get so fast? You're a junkie for accomplishment, as I said to someone this week. You're a junkie for more. Slow down. Everything you need and want is right where you are. Don't miss it. That's true for each of us. Right now, you have everything you need. In this now moment, take a breath. In this now moment, I am sitting supported by this extraordinary demonstration of the infinite called a chair. In this now moment, I am surrounded by this glorious demonstration of the universe called human beings. The enterprise of the universe is where I sit. Slow down. Right where you are is everything you need. So Eric Butterworth goes on to say, if you are worried about the money you have or don't have, you are out of the flow. Is there anyone sitting here that is worried about the money they have or don't have? Just by a show of hands. Look, that doesn't mean you don't have enough. It just means that your mind has a preoccupation with money. The mind's tendency to be preoccupied is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more I sit in either I have enough, I don't have enough, 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 I have enough, I don't. You're out of the flow. Because something else is taking your attention. Be still and know. Be still and know. I am funded, I am sourced and supplied by all that is good. I am sourced and supplied by all that is good. The Spirit is my only cause, medium, and effect. The Spirit is my only cause, medium, and effect. Imagine you walked through the world saying the Spirit is my only cause, medium, and effect. Then life throws up what it throws up. Spirit is my only cause, medium, and effect. Wouldn't that be funny if you walked around your office and someone's like, we have a problem. And you're like, Spirit is my only cause, medium, and effect. And they're like, what in the world are you talking about? I'm less and less interested in the word God because it really provokes, people have, in my opinion, have not deconstructed and reconstructed that word enough. And so it always creates a sense of separateness. Some externalized authority figure that's shaming and blaming, judging over your life. So for me, it's this, I grew up in a family that was deep into the 12-step traditions. And the God that is used in the 12-step rooms is called good, orderly direction. That's what I got for God. There's a power and presence right where I am. It is moving and having its being in, through, and as me. I am the individualized expression of all that is. So whatever this obstacle is before me, it's not real. And that doesn't mean you should sit and not take action on issues or matters that are important to you. But if you are operating around the issues, the concerns, the upsets of your life from a triggered reactive state, you will create more of that. So my discipline, my practice is until I can get still in myself, I need not say anything. Because I have a sharp tongue. And I've come to love it. And that's all right. But it's not always helpful. So the question is, am I using my power for good? Imagine if the word God does not work for you, good is your God. Good, love, peace, freedom, joy, power. The universe will give back to you that which you put out. So if there's something that is occurring in your life right now, there are two things that are happening. One is you're either experiencing an individualized projection of your world of beliefs showing up on the movie screen that is your life, or you're deeply entrenched in race consciousness and you have actually been absorbed by the dis-ease of separation. And the trick here in this time and space is for the one who can play the most masterful game of operation. The one who can get the thing out that's no longer working and needs repair, needs attention, needs love. So he goes on to say, no one can keep your good from you but you. No one can keep your good from you but you. If there is a desire that has been placed on your heart, it's a divine idea. It's already sourced and supplied. Unless we believe in some God out there that's teasing you. So a desire comes through you. I want to open up this business. I want to experience this kind of contribution on the planet. I want to love an intimate relationship this particular way. It's a divine idea. There is no external God that is here to trick you. That sounds like an awful presence. Some kind of mean man. I don't believe in that. The first Sunday of December, we are going to be visited by Bishop Carlton Pearson. And a really, really brilliant human that was really, really critical in my becoming. And he has a new Netflix movie out called Come Sunday. And he led a community in, I think it was Omaha. Oh, yeah, all those ones all feel the same to me. I'm sorry. Tulsa, Omaha, I'm like, it's just a lot of flatness going on over there. No disrespect to the people of that land. But yeah, so he was a big Pentecostal minister out there and had a spiritual awakening and said, I no longer believe that there's an external presence and power that is an authority sending you to hell. And I do not believe that based on your lifestyle choices that you're damned. What I believe is that there is one power, one presence, that good and evil only occur because we believe in them. And then we project them. And then we create all kinds of suffering out of them. And then they said, get out. Don't bring that nonsense into this house. And he was in the desert. When you are someone that's birthing a new paradigm of possibility, it's likely that the masses aren't going to get on board right away. That doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. And fortunately, he had people that gathered around him, like Michael Beckwith, and said, you know something. There is an ancient wisdom that you have tapped into. Remember I said, I am that I am? Most of us are only familiar with the reference to that from Moses. Why is that? Why do you not know of the more ancient and mystical traditions that long preceded the Judeo-Christian context? Why is that? Because if you know better, you do better. There is a mystical presence that is stirring inside of you. It is always available to lead, guide, and direct you. If that is true for you, that must be true for me. When I forget, I have to dig into my community. I have to dig into the people that can remind me. We oftentimes will hear of the traditions that would sing someone a song from their birthing to remind them of that which was true. And I had to be sung to on Friday. Do you have anyone to sing to you about what's true and real? We all have people who will get on the side of victimization. We all have people in our lives who will sit with us and say, you're right, he's wrong. You're right, he's wrong. You're right, he's wrong. You're right, he's wrong. Thank God for November 7th. Please, dear God, come. It's too noisy. It's too noisy. I do hope you vote. I do hope you vote. I was at an event this past week with an organization called Ballot Ready. Check it out. If you need guidance on what's on your ticket and how to vote, check it out and get informed. It's the same kind of thing. Nathan says, this is not about, I say crazy things too. I think you all know that, right? Nathan says, we're better than 80% of people in our spiritual practice. I don't want to be better than 80%. I want to be 100% of Lola. I want to be 100% of Lola. Don't not know who your judicial candidates are. That's what 80% of folks do. You're better than that. Know what you're doing and why. Be mindful. Inform yourself. You want to know why great people get great results? Because they do great things. They do the 100%, not the 80%. I'm not asking us to consider more efforting. But for me, the simple tasks that I can take are cleaning out the voices in Instagram, cleaning out the voices on Twitter, cleaning out the voices on Facebook, and getting my stillness on point. I am of no good to humanity if I am all up in the noise out here. So Ernest Holmes, he's a really great, brilliant human. He said, you will never demonstrate until behind your mental attitude is the belief that you have received before you have received that thing which is sought. You will never demonstrate, which means you will never have in the realm of form, in the world that you can perceive through your five senses, you'll never have that which you want. You'll never have the world that you desire. You'll never have the lover you want. You'll never have the job you want. You'll never have the kids you want until behind your mental attitude is the belief that you have received before you, that you have received that thing which is sought. See, the mind thinks in pictures. Time and space is not real. We have come to believe that this dimension of reality is the realest thing going. It's the most unreal thing. This dimension of reality is the most unreal thing going. Rainbow has been in this community for 15 years. She's about to set out on an adventure, on a road trip across the country with all of the unknown. When you are sitting in the unknown, the highest potentiality exists. Risk, reward. Risk, reward. Play safe, get safe results. Play full out, get full out results. Either this thing called the universe is real or it's not. Either the presence of God, spirit, life, whatever, either it is or it is not. It's not like maybe, sometimes, if you're good. No, it's always operating in, through, and as me, to the extent that I trust in it. This community has spent 15 years wavering on its existence. This community has spent 15 years wondering if we could succeed. And it's literally like this, like, I'm so sick of that. It's such a boring game. There is not a place or space in the city of Chicago, and I would argue on the planet like this spot. There is not a place or space. There are a lot of places and spaces that are committed to, saying what they know. We're interested in pressing up against what we don't know. Because that's where growth resides. That's where something new emerges, not where you know. You know what you know. You know that. So, we have a time right now that as a community, we really have to choose. We have to choose. Either we believe this stuff or we don't. Either we believe this or we don't, but not when it's convenient. It's no fun to play when it's convenient. There are a few people that I will call when I am in the desert, and all of them I know from this community. There are a few people that you know when you're in the desert, and I bet a lot of them you met here. Because there's a certain conversation that occurs here. No one can keep your good from you but you. So here's the invitation that I'd like to extend to you for this month. Take an inventory of what you're taking in. Start to pay attention to what you're ingesting in conversation, in people, in spaces. What are you ingesting? Is it commensurate with the life that you want to have? And then begin to notice what you're putting out. Are you walking on the planet with generosity? Are you walking on the planet with joy? Are you walking on the planet saying, peace, 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 peace? If you want peace, you got to be peace. If you want joy, you got to be joy. If you want abundance, you got to be abundance. It is your name and your nature.